Looking for festive Christmas crochet ideas? This simple yet stylish, easy Christmas basket crochet pattern makes a wonderful addition to your crochet Christmas decorations. This crochet Christmas basket is perfect for holding holiday treats or ornaments or to make as a gift, as it's both practical and jolly. Add it to your list of crochet projects for Christmas and watch it become a standout piece in your crochet Christmas decor.
Hello from Halifax. I'm Jo with Jo the World Creations.
We're going to be getting right to the video tutorial. All the details such as the yarn weight and amount of yarn required, as well as the step-by-step written instructions, they're all included in the written pattern, which is available for free on my website, and there's a link to that free pattern in the description below this video. We're going to start with the basket bottom and use red yarn. We are going to be using 2 strands of yarn. These 2 strands of yarn are going to be held together and we're going to treat them as one and crochet normally. For the crochet hook size, use a K hook. With our 2 strands of yarn, we're going to start by making a magic circle. This is how I make a magic circle. I have another video that shows you step by step slowly how to make a magic circle, and I'll link to that video in the description below this video. To start round 1, we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to make 10 half double crochet stitches into this magic circle. We're going to half double crochet into this magic circle. There's our first half double crochet stitch, and we're going to make 10 in total. There's 2. There's 3. You go ahead and make 10 half double crochet stitches and come back to the video. I've just made 10 half double crochet stitches. In this pattern, chains never count as stitches. The chain 1 that we made at the beginning of the round does not count. We're only going to count our half double crochet stitches. Really quickly here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we're going to pull the end of the magic circle tight to close. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch in the top of the first half double crochet stitch made in the round. Working into the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. This joining slip stitch that we just made never gets worked into and never gets counted as a stitch. To start round 2, we're going to chain 1. We are not going to turn. We're going to continue working in the same direction. Unless instructed otherwise, we are always going to start by working into the very first stitch. This is the stitch that we just slip stitched into, and it's the stitch attached to the chain we just made. For this round, we are going to make 2 half double crochet stitches in each stitch all the way around. And the first stitch we'll be working into is this first stitch. Working into this very first stitch, make our first of 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1, and in the same stitch, make another. Working in the next stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1, in the same stitch, make another. In each stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1 and 2. Go ahead and repeat that in each stitch all the way around. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I have 18 half double crochet stitches completed so far. I have one last stitch to work into. This here is my last stitch where I will make 2 half double crochet stitches. The stitch next to it is the slip stitch that joined the previous round, and this stitch does not get worked into. Working into the last stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. At the end of round 2, you should have 20 half double crochet stitches. The chain 1 that we made at the beginning of the round does not count. We're only counting our half double crochet stitches. Really quickly, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first half double crochet stitch that we made in the round. Working the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. I'm going to take a quick moment to weave in my ends. You can do this now or wait till the end of the pattern. To start round 3, we're going to chain 1. We're not going to turn. We're going to go right into the repeat portion of the round, which is what we'll be repeating all the way around. Working in the first stitch, we are going to make 2 half double crochet stitches into this first stitch. Working in this first stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1 and 2. Working in the next stitch, we're going to make 1 half double crochet stitch. And these are the steps we'll be repeating all the way around. In the next stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1 and 2. And in the next stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. You go ahead and repeat these following steps. In the next stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 2. And in the next stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. You repeat that all the way around and then come back to the video. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I have 2 stitches left. This is the slip stitch that never gets worked into. These are my last 2 stitches. Nothing special happens for these last 2 stitches. We're still following the same steps. In the second last stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. And in the last stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. You should have a total of 30 half double crochet stitches. We're going to now slip stitch into the top of the first half double crochet stitch. Working into this first stitch, slip stitch to join. After round 3, my work measures 3.75 inches across. However, exact sizing for this basket is not important. To start round 4, we're going to chain 1. We're not going to turn. We're going to begin the repeat portion of the round. We are going to work into the first stitch and make 2 half double crochet stitches. Working in this first stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches in the same stitch. Now we're going to make 1 half double crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches. We'll be making 1 in the next stitch and 1 in the stitch after that. Working in the next stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch, and in the next stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. And these are the steps we'll be repeating all the way around. In the next stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 1. In the same stitch, make another. And now half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. There's 1, working in the next stitch. There's one. You go ahead and repeat these steps all the way around. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I have 3 stitches left. Nothing special happens. We're continuing doing the same steps. In the next stitch, make 2 half double crochet stitches. There's 2. In the second last stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. And in the last stitch, make 1 half double crochet stitch. To join, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first half double crochet stitch made in the round. Working into the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. At the end of round 4, you should have a total of 40 half double crochet stitches. At this point, my work measures approximately 5 inches across. I'm now going to start the basket sides. However, you are welcome to make the basket bigger by making more rounds. We've just completed the basket bottom, and this is the top or the right side of the basket bottom. This top is going to continue to face up. The round numbers are now going to reset to make it easier to count from this bottom up. For the basket sides, round 1, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. The wrong side or back of the bottom is now facing us. For this round only, we are not going to work into the first stitch. This is the slip stitch that joined the last round of the basket bottom, and we never work into that stitch or count it as a stitch. So we're going to be skipping this first stitch, the one that's attached to that chain 1 we just made. For this round, we are going to be working into the back loops only. These are the loops that are furthest away from you. Starting in this last half double crochet stitch, so skipping over the slip stitch, working into this half double crochet stitch into the back loop only. We're going to insert our hook under these back loops and single crochet. And we're going to single crochet in the back loops only of each stitch all the way around. Skipping the slip stitch, working into the next stitch, insert your hook under that back loop only and single crochet. Working into the back loop only of the next stitch, insert your hook under those back loops and single crochet. And we're going to simply single crochet in the back loops only of each stitch all the way around. You go ahead and single crochet in the back loops only of each stitch all the way around, and then come back to the video. I'm almost finished working all the way around. So far, I have 39 single crochet stitches. I have one last stitch to work into, still working into the back loops only of this last stitch. I'm going to make my final single crochet stitch. I now have a total of 40 single crochet stitches. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch that we made in the round. We're going to slip stitch under both loops of this first single crochet stitch. And we're going to work under both loops from now on. Working into the top of this first single crochet stitch under both loops, slip stitch to join. To start the basket sides round 2, we're going to chain 1. We are not going to turn. For this round, we're simply going to single crochet in each stitch around, starting with the very first stitch the stitch that we just slip stitch into, the stitch that's attached to the chain. Working in this first stitch, single crochet, and single crochet in each stitch all the way around, working normally under both loops from now on, and simply single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and then come back to the video. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I've made 39 single crochet stitches at this point. I have one last stitch to work into. Here's our joining slip stitch, which we never work into. Into this last stitch, make my last single crochet stitch, and you should now have a total of 40 single crochet stitches. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of this first single crochet stitch. Working the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. Now we're going to change colors and make Santa's belt. In my actual basket, I used black yarn, and we're going to use 2 strands of yarn to make this belt. For this video tutorial, to ensure you can easily see what I'm doing, I'm going to use 2 strands of gray yarn just for this video tutorial. You're going to take your 2 strands of black yarn. Let's pretend this gray yarn is black. Place them on your hook and pull them through the loops of red that's currently on your hook. Now pull all your strands tight. And now we're going to fasten off our red yarn, which simply means to cut the yarn that's attached to your skeins. Now using our black yarn, we are going to chain 1. We are not going to turn. For the sides round 3, we're simply going to single crochet in each stitch around, starting with the very first stitch. Using our black yarn, working in the first stitch, single crochet, and single crochet in each stitch all the way around. You go ahead and single crochet in each stitch around and come back to the video. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I've made 39 single crochet stitches. I have one last stitch to work into. In the last stitch, single crochet. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in this round. Working in this first stitch, slip stitch to join. For the sides, round 4, we're still going to use our black yarn. We're going to chain 1. We're not going to turn. We're going to do the exact same thing we did in the previous round. Single crochet in each stitch around. Starting in this first stitch, single crochet, and make 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way around. After working all the way around, you should have 40 single crochet stitches. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round to join. To start the basket sides, round 5, we're going to change colors again, and we're going to change back to red. You're going to take 2 strands of red yarn, place them on your hook, and pull the red through the loops of black currently on your hook. Now pull all the strands tight. And now we can fasten off our black yarn. Now with our red yarn, we're going to chain 1. We're not going to turn. We're going to start in the first stitch and single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Working in the first stitch, single crochet, and single crochet in each stitch around. You go ahead and do that and come back to the video. After working all the way around, you should have 40 single crochet stitches. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round to join. For the sides, round 6 and 7, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to chain 1, we're not going to turn. Starting in the first stitch, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. Starting in this first stitch, single crochet and single crochet in each stitch all the way around. After single crocheting all the way around, you should have 40 single crochet stitches made. And to finish the round, we're going to slip stitch in the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round to join. You may notice that I've redone the belt in black so that I can make the basket with the actual colors with you. I also took a moment to weave in all my loose ends. You're welcome to do that now or at the end of the pattern. We just finished round 6 of the basket sides. Now for the sides round 7, you're going to do the exact same thing that we just did and repeat the sides round 6. You go ahead and do that and then come back to the video. I've just completed the sides round 7. We are now going to change to using 1 strand of size 5 bulky white yarn. Take your 1 strand of bulky size 5 yarn and place it on your hook. Pull it through the loops of red currently on your hook. Pull all the strands tight. And now we're going to fasten off our red yarn. With our white yarn, we're now going to chain 1. We're not going to turn. Starting in the first stitch, and then in every stitch, we're going to single crochet. In this first stitch, single crochet, and single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'm almost finished working all the way around. I have 1 last stitch to work into. Working into this last stitch, I'm going to make my 40th single crochet stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet stitch made in the round. If you're using the same yarn I'm using, this can get really tricky to see. Find that first single crochet stitch and then insert your hook under the top 2 loops of this first stitch. Working in the top of this first stitch, slip stitch to join. Now we're going to start sides round 9, which is the last round of the basket. We're going to chain 1 and we're not going to turn. For this round, we're simply going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. This yarn makes it very, very tricky to see your stitches. One thing I like to do is really count my stitches as I'm working on this round so that I can keep track of how many stitches I've made. And we want to have a total of 40 single crochet stitches. At the top of this first stitch, single crochet. In the top of the next stitch, single crochet. And simply single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I've just finished single crocheting in each stitch all the way around. This is what my basket's looking like. To finish the round, we're going to slip stitch in the top of this first stitch to join. Now we're going to fasten off our white yarn and now pull the end through the loop that was on your hook and pull tight. And with your yarn needle, weave in all your loose ends. Now we're going to make the belt buckle. For the belt buckle, we're going to use an F hook. We're going to use golden yellow yarn, and we're only going to use 1 strand. With our 1 strand of golden yellow yarn, we're going to start by making a slip knot. Place your slip knot on your hook and pull tight. Now we're going to chain 23. Three, 4, you go ahead and chain 23 and come back to the video. With our 23 starting chains now made, we're going to begin row 1, which is the entire belt buckle. For all of this row, we are going to be working into the back ridge loops, which are these bumps along the back. And every time we work into a chain, we're always going to be working into these back bumps. We're going to start by working in the second chain from the hook. Here's the first, here's the second. Rotate your chain so you can see those back bumps and find the second one from the hook. So here's the first, here's the second. We are going to insert our hook into the second back ridge loop, and we are going to make 3 slip stitches all into the same chain, always working under this back ridge loop. Working in the second chain from the hook, rotate your chain, find that second back ridge loop, insert your hook into it, and we're going to make our first slip stitch. There's my first slip stitch. We're going to keep working into the same back ridge loop. Insert your hook again into that same back ridge loop and make another slip stitch. There's our second. Still working into the same back ridge loop. We're going to make one more slip stitch. Insert your hook into that back ridge loop and slip stitch. This creates our first corner. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next 3 chains. Working into the very next chain under this back ridge loop, we're going to insert a hook into this back ridge loop, the next one, and slip stitch. Working into the next back ridge loop, insert your hook and slip stitch. There's our second of 3. Working into the next chain, still under that back ridge loop, insert your hook and slip stitch. We now have 3 slip stitches made after our first corner. Now we're going to work into the next back ridge loop and make our next corner. Into this next chain, we're going to make 3 slip stitches all in the same chain. Working into this next chain under the back ridge loop, insert your hook, make our first slip stitch. Working in the same chain, make another slip stitch. And let's make our last slip stitch still in the same chain. And there's our second corner. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to make 1 slip stitch in each of these chains. Working into the next back ridge loop. Make our first slip stitch in the next. There's 2 of 6 in the next, 3 of 6, 4 of 6, 5 of 6, 1 more to go, and there's 6 after our second corner. Working into the next chain, we're going to make our third corner, and we're going to make 3 slip stitches all into the same chain. Working into this next chain. There's one, still in the same chain. There's two. And there's three. There's our third corner complete. Now we're going to slip stitch. Just make one slip stitch in the next 3 chains. Working in the next chain, make one slip stitch. In the next, one slip stitch. There's 2 of 3. And the last one, there's our 3 slip stitches after the third corner. Now we're going to work into the next chain and make our 4th and final corner. In this chain, we'll make 3 slip stitches all in the same chain. Working into this chain, make 1 slip stitch. Now let's make another. There's our second, 1 more. And there's our 4th and final corner. You should now have 6 chains left. This is the last one right here. We are going to make 1 slip stitch in each of these 6 remaining chains. Working in the next chain, make 1. In the next, there's 2. 3. 4. 5. And in this last chain, make our 6th and final slip stitch. To join the end and start of the row together, we are going to slip stitch into the first slip stitch that we made in row 1. We'll be working under both loops of this first slip stitch. Working into this first slip stitch, insert your hook under both loops and slip stitch to join. Now we're going to fasten off our yarn and we're going to leave a 12-inch long ending tail. You can remove your hook, cut the yarn that's attached to your skein, leaving approximately 12 inches. Now you can widen up the loop that was on your hook a bit, and we're going to pull this ending tail through the loop that was on your hook and pull tight. Right here's our ending tail. Before we do anything with it, we're first going to weave in our starting tail. With your yarn needle, weave this starting tail into the back of the belt buckle. Now this starting tail is woven into the back of the belt buckle, and I feel like the starting point, that slip knot that we made that was poking out originally, is more tucked into the belt buckle now and hardly noticeable from the front. At this point, I can now cut my starting tail. Now we're ready to attach the belt buckle to the basket. And we're going to use our yarn needle in our 12-inch long ending tail. We want to attach the belt buckle to the front center of the basket. You can find the back You can see it a little bit. Here is the very back of the basket. We want it to be on the complete opposite side of the back, and we want to place the belt buckle with the rows of black in the middle. Now, because of joining with a regular slip stitch, we have a little bump here. And to hide this a little bit, we can insert our needle from the back to the front through this next slip stitch. And that hides that bump a little bit. Now, to get ready to attach it, I'm going to insert my needle from front to back through the next slip stitch under both loops. When we're attaching it to the basket, we have two options here, and it's up to you what you'd like to do. We can either put our yarn needle, I'm just going to use this as an example, right through the basket and have a little bit of yellow show through the inside of the basket. And if you're okay with that, that's definitely the easiest way to attach it. It won't be very noticeable, and especially when your basket is full. However, if you don't want these yellow lines to be shown and you want your basket to look great even if it's empty, you'll want to only insert your needle through the fronts of stitches so that it doesn't come through the back. I'm going to use this method when attaching. You may find it helpful to pin the belt buckle in place, especially at the start, so that you can really focus on the stitches and attaching it versus holding it in the right place. So now I'm going to attach the belt buckle to the basket, trying to only work into the fronts of stitches so that it doesn't come through the back. I like to go in and out of my slip stitches, working into the next slip stitch, and then going into the basket again, finding a spot that only goes through the fronts of stitches. And this is all I do to attach the belt buckle to the basket. Just go in and out of the slip stitches. Try your best, if you're using this way, to not go through the basket. But if you want to go through the basket, that's absolutely okay. I just like to weave in and out of the slip stitches and then find a spot on the basket, going through the front of stitches, and going into the next slip stitch. And I'm going to do this all the way around. You go ahead and follow these steps and attach your belt buckle to your basket. I've just finished attaching the belt buckle all the way around. The last step is to weave in our loose end. What I do for this is just find the next slip stitch, pull your yarn through, and now working into the next slip stitch, pull your yarn through, and now pull this yarn a little tightly and cut, and then that end can get tucked in behind the belt buckle. And now you have a brand new Christmas basket. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoy making this basket. If you like this tutorial, I would be delighted if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.